Hello. It's your pal Bildwithe, and I've returned to my homeland, God's country, the swamp. Now I love the swamp because, well, it's where I grew up. It's where I'm from. Well, I originally grew up in a tiny little village outside the swamp, and then my whole family, we got banished to the swamp. Our town got infiltrated by a horde of giants. So, family grew up in the swamp, but then people gradually left, got disbanded. It was difficult adjusting to swamp life. So, long story short, I lost both my parents. I don't like to talk about it, and I ended up by myself in the swamp. But I just fine. Everything was great, and I grew up really well adjusted for having raised myself. I'll tell you what happened though, and how I became a major adventurer from just like a measly little swamp junk collector. I'll tell you that story coming up next. Some more about that story and me. One day I was in my swamp, minding my own business, and then out of nowhere there was a elemental being that popped up and was like, "Hey, Bildwithe, I'm taking your land. You've got some how does it go? Am I locked out of my home again? Well, isn't this metaphorical? Why am I? You know, silly gate gonna keep me out? It's like having an adventurer. All right. So one day, I was walking through the swamp, you know, scavenging for collecting junk and things like I do, and I stepped in some noxious swamp gas, and it destroyed my lungs with like just bad gases. You know how bad gases are. So my lungs almost destroyed for months and months. Couldn't breathe well. Had really terrible health. My disheveled hut got even more disheveled. Sorry if the leaves are crunchy. And then one day, an elemental being came to me at my hut in the swamp and said, "Bildwithe, I'm gonna take you home. You got some really nice natural swamp gases that are all noxious around here, and I use the magic from the noxious swamp gases to make my evil magic. So, sorry, you gotta go. I'm gonna take your stuff. I'm gonna take your place." And I was like, "Well, I got nowhere to go. I'm homeless. I live in the swamp. This is my home. You're escaping me from my home." And he's like, "Well, we'll make a trade, and I'm gonna heal your lungs, and you go on out of here and have a different life." And I was like, "Well, gee, that sounds rather extreme, but I really wanted my health back." So I let him heal my lungs, and I talked to an innkeeper who I traded some of my junk for some better things so I could go on an adventure. And I happened to run into my friends after I left that place. But he also told me, "Hey, I sense a bit of magic in you. I think when you got your lungs healed, you got some magic powers. That healing power stayed with you. And you're a cleric now." So that's how I became a cleric. I really like it. My cuts heal super fast. It's not good for much else because I don't really know how to spell cast or anything. That might happen at a level like 4 or 5. I see why the path is closed. That's why kind of what I thought was going to happen. This just became very dangerous all of a sudden. But I'm an intrepid adventurer. And ain't no creaky bridge gonna stop me now. Oh, that's pretty. Not the sign. Get out of the way sign. Actually, I want to read it. Then why are you telling me to not read things if you're gonna put a sign and I gotta read it? Doesn't make any sense. I'm looking for more information on this elemental that gave me my powers and fixed my lungs. To think them, even though I think they were particularly, possibly in more of an evil kind of being, I'd still like to think them. I think it's like the right thing to do. Let me try to illustrate just what it was like talking with that ancient elemental being. So the story of my encounter with that thing was a bit like this. Well, get off it, mate. This is my home. This is my lungs. And I'm fixing them as well as I damn well can. You better scurry along because I want to keep my home just like it is, all disheveled and crappy because I can't fix it and stuff. And you ought to leave. That's what I said. Right, that's what I said. Well, I guess maybe you can fix my lungs. I don't like the idea of leaving my swamp, my hut, in my junk, but it had to happen sooner or later. Thanks for the opportunity to start a new life. And maybe, once I start on this adventure, I'll meet some friends, and I'll have people to talk to. Maybe they might like to talk to me too. And then I'll have like company and I won't be alone all the time. Thanks. Elemental, what did you say your name was? Okay, Bob. I'm gonna pack up my stuff and I'll be on my way. Alright, Swampland. Be good. One day I'll come back and reclaim my home. I hope. Maybe have a bunch of friends or something to bring back and show them all the beauty of the swampland, from the maggots and the grubs to the poop-stained fronds and all the dust and the dirt and the mud in the whole world. Be good. Remember me. Oh no! How am I gonna get out of this one?